had a chance to review Optoma's HD20 a few weeks ago. We're talking about a solid-looking sub-1000 1080p projector. A lot of you have been asking about screens and projectors and how to set them up. Do I need a screen? Will a wall or a sheet on a wall do? Should I get a silver or white screen? Mr. Heron.
Yes.
Let's discuss setting up projectors and whether or not you need a screen.
Yeah. I'd cover the first part, though, with your screen needs for your room. If it's a quick and dirty setup, no, point it right at a wall. Even a textured wall, as long as it's not a very dark color, any kind of light beige or even white, it's going to work just fine. I've also used louvered curtains that are the long slat kind that you kind of like just spin the little thing and they close shut and flat. Even on that in a dark room, once the image is going, people will just, your eyes are very good about blending out small imperfections like the seams between the
vertical
different
lines and your level of lines.
Exactly. So in a pinch, no, feel free. Projectors like that, a $1,000 projector too, is specifically made to be set on the coffee table, pointed at a wall, just get busy and get your image up there and going.
I mean, so you're in party projector mode. Like I'm taking it to my friend's house for the Super Bowl.
I need a
second
second display
movies with a whole bunch of friends.
Got the main TV going, but we need something up on the wall over here for gaming or whatever. And sure.
So let's say you're stepping it up. What's the next step up from broadcasting it on a sheet tacked to the wall or on a plain white or beige
There
wall?
are some inexpensive screen material companies out there. I can actually provide a couple links for those as well. That are just look. You don't want to paint something where you could possibly have the problem with painting a screen is that if it's not even, it's really easy to see it when you go to actually project an image on it.
So don't do the 2% gray and the white primer and roll it on your wall?
If you're good at it, do it. But just realize that if you accidentally painted one edge too dark or you got from the roller you had a nice line left in there for extra paint, that kind of stuff can be easily seen. Compared to just getting a piece of screen material that's probably factory made by a machine and very, very consistent throughout its quality from corner to corner. Also, depending on the room quality too, how much light is in the room, that determines what kind of screen you would want. In most scenarios, I would say go for something slightly gray, because that will help improve the apparent contrast of the picture in a bright room, or a room without perfect, the perfect room is completely dark. With black walls. However, very rarely you're going to find that in somebody's home, unless it's in their basement or something. Anyway, so those are some of the things you want to look out for.
So when you talk about improving the contrast, you're saying a gray screen will help make blacks look blacker?
Exactly, especially on a super bright projector like this one, where its black performance isn't up to par with projectors that cost 2 or 3 times more. So if you want to help a projector that's suffering and say, it's bright, but black isn't as black as I'd like, or it's not as black as an LCD screen, that would help a little bit. Now, you don't want to make it too dark, but at the same point, going a little bit off-white is good.
Now, when you're looking at screens, sometimes you see like a reflectivity value, or it talks about like 4% or reflectivity.
Sometimes
or something like
the gain that's called, that's really just more about, how reflective the screen is in terms of...
What's the point of making a screen reflective? Isn't that just going to blind me?
Bright rooms, in particular. They make screens of aluminum material that are so reflective that it's like, wow, okay, you could look at this in a standard projector in a well-lit room. However, the more reflective a screen is, the more directional the picture becomes, and then if you get off axis of that, you start to lose picture quality pretty quickly. So that's the trade-off. Now, the opposite end of that is what they call a Lambertian diffuser, and where it's perfectly flat, where at any angle you're going to get the same picture. However, those screens tend to pick up any kind of room light reflections, and it will ruin your contrast performance. So those screens are very difficult to work with, whereas the highly reflective screens are good for business presentations, but not necessarily the best thing for home theater, because they can actually not hurt your eyes physically, but it'll be so bright as to be almost unwatchable.
So you have a portable screen that's basically been everywhere with you for the last couple of years.
It's just a standard, it's a standard projection screen made by Epson. They're, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but a great portable screen for
Accolade Duet.
Yeah, the Duet. You get the screen for about $120. It gives you a 4x3 or a 16x9 projection screen. It's portable. It's easy to set up, take down, put away, and it gives me a nice flat, fairly reflective surface. So it's great for rooms where the lighting's not perfect, but it's also just quick and dirty. And it's a nice flat white surface with a black border around it that helps when I stretch that image out to fit the picture on the screen. I can overshoot it just a little bit and hide it in that nice masking area around the edge, which is strictly for convenience, though.
One of the things about the portable screens is if you have a really nice living room, then maybe the projection screen thing, because you don't have the money for like the red screen, the red curtains that automatically open, or you don't want to go up and hang a piece of art in front of it. Portable screen, you can leave it up there, and then when like the nice company is coming over, you can stash the screen somewhere.
Totally. Now, if you had the money to do it, go with something maybe especially if you're remodeling, that's where you really want to take a look at what you can do, because I would suggest considering like screens that come up out of the ceiling that are actually mounted up in the ceiling and will come right down, and when they retract, you can't even tell they're hardly there. Or screens that could mount on the wall and then just come down at request. Or also, if you really want to get fancy, you can even have it come up out of the floor. You can have it done any way you want, but it's more about determining what's a good match for your projector. Now, if you are going to the high end, any reputable screen manufacturer will keep track of every screen they've ever made and what projector it was paired with, and they have a really good idea of what works in what situations. And it's good to go check out some of those sites like Delight, like Stewart Film Screen and others, and they actually keep meticulous records of these things.
So you're basically talking about a screen can actually be tuned to make a projector look best, period?
Most
or
definitely.
Best in a particular room setting, or?
Both. And,
really?
Or to even overcome problems with certain projection systems, especially when they talk about rear projection. If you're going to create a rear projection system where you actually have the projector on the other side of the wall, the screen is semi-transparent, and in that case, you can actually overcome, say the projector is too blue or the projector is too red. They can even tweak it to help overcome things like that. That's fairly high end. Normally, you're not dealing with that. You'll more or less make adjustments on the projector itself to affect image quality, but if you had to, that can be done.
So what's your favorite, like, no cost barred, like, somebody else is writing the check, I won a poker game in Dubai at the MotoGP.
Yeah.
What are you buying? Like, are you setting up a complete room still?
I would do the complete room, but the screen in particular, I would want one that has the motorized automatic masking, where it'll look at the, say on my video server, every video is tagged with the aspect ratio. I could tag that into the server app that drives the screen, so it's like, oh, this is a 16:9 movie. Masks come into 16:9, projection hits that, it's already set up. Oh, I switched to a 4:3 movie. The masks come in further to make a 4:3 screen, or I go 235, 240 to 1. They'll stretch right back out and do that. You know, the size, I'm going to go as big as possible. Brightness, it'll be whatever I'm dealing with in terms of the projector, but those are the kinds of screens I'm really into. And acoustically transparent is the other thing I really like, because ideally I'd want to put the speakers behind the screen, but you need to have them perforated in such a way to allow that sound to transmit through that screen material without changing the sound quality drastically.
Right.
So those are the things I would look for, really. And those screens are out there and available from the companies I just mentioned, too.
Oh, I like that thought. I still like the ones that actually
transparent.
That's one of the really fun things about when you go to CES and you see all of this insane sort of ACTV mounts and screen situations.
There are those cinecurve screens too. That's probably a trademark name from Stewart. I'm just probably throwing that out, but they're actually curved screens as well, so that the distance from the projector to each point on that screen is equal, because you can actually get some weird shifting on a projector pointing it at a flat surface, because the light on the sides is traveling a little bit further than the light in the center. But if you curve the screen, that eliminates that, and it can create a more immersive experience as well. But that's just something, another option out there that they're willing to, show and try to sell you. But it's something to consider.
I like that thought.
And also, for the spousal acceptance factor, that always comes down to who you live with and will they tolerate this. Keep in mind that you can hide screens very well nowadays. You can have them come out of walls. You can mount it as almost like a piece of the room furniture and time it to wall colors, lighting systems, anything to make it blend in better. So don't poo-poo it. And it can always retract and disappear if need be. So
better to discuss than dismiss, ladies and
consider
gentlemen.
your projectors.
Consider, yeah, we're
And screens.
Based on the emails, you're excited about them too. We got some more projectors coming in for review. As they show up, we'll review them, tell you more about using projectors to get your HD on.